we have been discussing about the execution in state. So in state, we are having a governor, and the governor is the representative of the president in the state that we have discussed. Now, okay, I hope you can see the screen. So the state executive consists of the governor, then council of ministers, chief minister, and advocate general. Okay, so we will discuss in detail. We have already discussed who is the governor. Okay, the governor is the constitutional head of the state government, or he can be called as the nominal head of the state government. So the real head will be the chief minister, but the nominal head is the governor itself. So the governor is the link between the center and the state government. Then he is the executive head of the state, and all the executive actions are taken place in the name of the governor that we have discussed. And the governor is the nominee of the president to a state. So that is why the governor can represent the center in the state. So we have discussed all this, and we have discussed the specifications of the governor, just like the term of office, then appointment of the governor by the president. So the president is the person who appoints the governor. So there will not be any elections. So in the case of president, then vice president, then prime minister, everyone, we are having elections. So in the case of governor, the president can directly appoint a person as a governor for various states. So that is the specification. So here there is no election. So that you should understand. So here you can see the person can be appointed as the governor only if he is having an age of 35 years that we have already discussed. So 35 years is the minimum age limit for being the governor of a state. So that's all about the qualification, and he can be a citizen. Sorry, he should be a citizen of India. So that's also a qualification. So he can be removed at any time by the president, and he can resign also at any time. He can resign by giving the resignation letter to the president, and usually the term of office is 5 years. So he can also be transferred from one state to the other, and for two states at the same time there can be the single person selected as the governor. That is also possible. So in some critical situations, just like if the governor got died, or if there is any emergency removal of the governor, in such situations there will be the provision of the chief justice of high court as the governor of a state. So that just like we are doing in the center. Okay, center, you can see the chief justice of India or the Supreme Court chief justice is responsible to handle the duties of the president if the president becomes absent without a prior notice, just like the death of the president, or the immediate removal of the president, impeachment of the president. In that way, there will not be proper time to conduct the election. So at that time, it will be the Chief Justice of India. Okay, so at that time it will be the Vice President. Anyway, if Vice President is also absent, then it will be the Chief Justice of India. Okay, if Chief Justice of India is also absent, then it can be the senior most judge of the Supreme Court. In that way, it is there in the center, but in the state, it's the in the state you can see there is no vice governor. Okay, in that way there is no post. So definitely, once the governor is absent, then it will be the Chief Justice of High Court who should function as the governor. So that position is known as the acting governorship. Okay, acting governorship can be possible in the case of emergency removal or death of the governor. So that you have discussed. Okay, I remember we have discussed almost all aspects of the governor, isn't it? അല്ലെ, ഗവർണർ നമ്മൾ ഡിസ്കസ് ചെയ്തതല്ലേ? പവേഴ്സ് ഓഫ് ദ ഗവർണർ നമ്മൾ ഡിസ്കസ് ചെയ്തില്ല അല്ലെ? വാട്ട് ആർ ദ പവേഴ്സ് ഓഫ് ഗവർണർ ഡിസ്കസ് ചെയ്തില്ലല്ലോ. സാരെങ്കിൽ do you remember what you have discussed during the last class? Prince, anyone? Okay, we will discuss anyway. So here you can see these are the specifications of the governor, and after that the articles related to governor that we have discussed. So the main articles which starts from 153. Okay, so regarding the state, it is mentioned there in the article 153, starting from this 153. So up to 152 it is the union. Okay, union of India we have discussed up to 152, and from the 153 onwards it's the state. Okay, so 153 to 237 it is like that. Okay, then 238 to 242, in that way it will go the remaining parts. Okay, so here from 153 to 237 you can see various aspects regarding the state. Okay, so within that state it starts with the state executive. So the executive begins with the governor. So the article that is coming first in this part will be the article related to the governor, just like the article which started with the president in the case of the union. Okay, that you may be remembering. So you can see the various articles. No need to explain. Okay, so we have already explained that is why. Okay, so there shall be a governor, then executive powers of the governor, qualifications of governor, then the appointment of high court judge as the acting governor, and then the power to grant pardon. Okay, in the case of president it is 72, and in the case of governor it is 161. So in the case of governor he cannot pardon for a death penalty. That is a difference. Okay, if a person is given death penalty, then definitely it should be the president only who can give pardon to that victim. Okay, otherwise the remaining all the punishments can be pardoned by the governor also. Okay, now it is article 213. We have also discussed that the pardoning power of the governor. Okay, 123 in the case of president and 213 in the case of governor. Okay, I hope you will not forget these two articles, because these are highly related to each other. Okay, 123 and 213. Okay, so that's all about the articles related to governor. Now it's the powers of the governor. I hope we have not discussed the powers. Okay, നമ്മൾ power discuss ചെയ്തില്ലല്ലോ ഗവർണറുടെ. Anyone? I hope you are listening to the classes and writing down the class notes at the same time. അല്ലെ, അങ്ങനെയല്ലേ ചെയ്യുന്നത്? Anyone? And I recommend you should read some more widely, just like you should not be sticking onto the class note itself. So in the class note there are limitations. That means we have to cut short the class note up to the important points. So after that you have to read widely, and you have to listen the class carefully. So some of the points I may not include in the class note, but still we will discuss thoroughly in our class, especially the during the last classes related to the module 2. We have discussed a lot of points, just like different cases, then the verdicts of the Supreme Court regarding those cases, everything you have to listen and you have to understand. And if you have any doubt, you can ask that also, because those are important. So you have not answered some of the questions in the series that I have noted. അല്ല, സീരീസിന് പല ക്വസ്റ്റ്യൻസ് നിങ്ങൾ ആൻസർ ചെയ്തിട്ടില്ല. അതും ഈ പറഞ്ഞ രീതിയിലുള്ള ഒരു ആപ്ലിക്കേഷൻ ടൈപ്പ് ക്വസ്റ്റ്യൻസ് ആകുമ്പോഴാണ് നിങ്ങൾ അങ്ങനെ ഒരു ടെൻഡൻസി കാണിക്കുന്നത്. സോ ഇൻ ദ കേസ് ഓഫ് ഫൈനൽ എക്സാം ദർ വിൽ ബി എ ചാൻസ് ഓഫ് ആസ്കിങ് സച്ച് ക്വസ്റ്റ്യൻസ്. സോ നമ്മൾ ക്ലാസ്സിൽ ഡിസ്കസ് ചെയ്തത് അതിൻ്റെ അണ്ടർസ്റ്റാൻഡിങ്ങിൽ നിങ്ങൾക്ക് എഴുതാൻ വേണ്ടി പറ്റണം. ഫുള്ള് നോട്ട് നോക്കിയിട്ട് അതുപോലെ എഴുതുന്ന ഒരവസ്ഥയിൽ നിന്ന് നിങ്ങൾ എന്ത് ചെയ്യണം, ഒന്നുകൂടി അപ്ഗ്രേഡ് ചെയ്യണം. ഓക്കെ, so we will discuss all these points again and again in the time of revision also we will discuss, no problem. But still you should have the capability to listen, understand and write by your own. Okay, concept okay അല്ലേ? Anyone? ഒന്ന് റെസ്പോണ്ട് ചെയ്ത്. Prince absent. Okay, so the powers of the governor we will discuss in detail. So the powers can be executive powers, legislative powers, then financial powers, judicial powers and discretion powers. So starting from the executive power, it is the executive power of the governor, which is mentioned in Article 154 that you have already discussed. Okay, so in this executive power, it says that the president is the head. Hello. Okay, അല്ലേ? Okay. Okay, 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 okay. You can. Okay, so we will discuss in detail about the executive power. Okay, so all the executive actions in the state are taken in the name of the governor. So in the state it's the governor, and in the union it's the president. So that is why the governor is known as the executive head. So that is the executive power of the governor. So the governor can appoint various positions, just like the governor appoints the chief minister, then governor appoints the council of ministers, and the governor appoints the advocate general, then governor appoints the state PSC members and state PSC chairman. So all these appointments are taken by the governor. So those are the executive powers of the governor. Okay, so that you should write, and the article you should not forget. Okay, 154. Now, what is the legislative powers? So legislative powers means the power to make laws. Okay, so usually the legislative power is provided by the legislature. Okay, so the assembly, that means the state assemblies. So still the governor is capable of making laws, that you may be remembering. Okay, just like the ordinances. Ordinances means these are temporary laws which are having all the provisions of a normal law. Still it is having a duration of 6 months only. So within that 6 months, the assembly should meet, and it should make that ordinance into a bill. Then only it will exist forever. Otherwise, it will be invalid within that 6 month duration. Okay. So and that is the ordinance, and the ordinance making power we have already discussed. That is Article 213, and that is the legislative power of the governor. Okay, the power to make laws, and what is a financial power. Okay, in financial power we can see the first time it is the budget. Okay, state budget is presented to the state assembly in the name of the governor. That is the point. Okay, so the state budget is prepared and submitted in the name of the governor in the state. So that is the first financial power. Then the governor can grant the, or governor can demand for fund from the union to the state. Okay, so if the state is running out of money, then that means in the state you can see it is the consolidated fund from which the it is a consolidated fund from which the day-to-day activities of the government is going on. Okay, so the government performs its day-to-day activities, just like so the state government performs its day-to-day activities by using the amount which is available in the consolidated fund of that state. Okay, so the consolidated fund will be some predetermined amount of money. That means the requirement of the money will be specifically mentioned before the expenditure. Okay, but in the case of emergency, there will be the expenditure at a peak. That means there will be a more expenditure, and we should use the contingency fund also. And if that fund also is fully used, then what will happen? Then you have to demand for extra grant from the union. So that situation will be understood by the governor, and he will demand that amount from the union government, because he is the representative of the union in the state, or the representative of the center in the state. So he should act as the link between the state and the center. So it is his duty to make the union understand about the situation in the state. Okay, that is a financial power. And now what is a judicial power? Okay, in judicial power it comes the pardoning power. Okay, in pardoning power you can see in article 161. So in 161 you should remember all these articles. It mentions that expect the death penalty, any punishment can be pardoned. Pardoned means can be cancelled by the governor of the state in within the territory of that state. Okay, so within the territory of state only the governor can enjoy the pardoning power of any victims. Okay, so not victims, any culprits. Okay, so that is a pardoning power that we have already discussed, which is coming under the judicial power. Judicial power means the power to exercise law. Okay, so usually it is the high court to punish the culprits, but in situations just like the situation for pardoning, it is the governor who performs this judicial function. Okay, I hope it's clear for you. So under the judicial power you have to write the pardoning power. Okay, so that's the only judicial power. Okay, the remaining judicial powers are enjoyed by the state high court. Okay, and also the governor is judicially immune to all the legal actions. That also you may be remembering. In the case of president, the president cannot be arrested, or he cannot be there cannot be legal actions against the president. In the same way, to the governor also we cannot apply any legal actions. He cannot be arrested like that. Okay, so if there is any issue regarding the punishment of the governor, then the first time the governor will be removed by the president, and after that actions will be followed. Okay, I hope it's clear. Clear അല്ലേ? Khadija Shirin, Mohammed Salih. Okay അല്ലേ? So I hope you can understand all these things just by listening and writing class notes, and moreover you will get the concepts from the class note itself. So anyway, I will prepare the slides, and okay, I will distribute the slides later. I have not made some of the slides of most of the modules, but once it's complete, I will share it and you can study from that also. Okay, anyway, the best method is you have to make your own class note. Okay, that you should make parallelly. Okay, so that's all about the governor and the discretionary power. We have also described the discretionary power. What is this discretionary power? The power to discrete among the bills. Okay, so you may have remembering in some situations there should be the recommendation of the governor to introduce certain bills in the parliament. Okay, so at the time of president we have discussed about the provision to make a new state. Okay, if you want to make a new state, then it should be introduced as a bill in the union parliament. Okay, so but it should be from the prior recommendation of the president only. So without the recommendation of president you cannot move a bill regarding the formation of new states. In the same way, in certain aspects you should introduce a certain bill in the state assembly only with the prior recommendation of the governor. So the governor is having the discretionary power to discrete or to separate different bills and decide whether the bill is to be introduced in the parliament, introduced in the assembly or not. So that is the power of governor to discriminate or discrete between the various bills within the assembly. Okay, so I hope it's clear. So discretionary power also you can write within one or two sentences. So it is the power to discrete in between various bills and to recommend the introduction of certain bills within the assembly. Okay, now we can see one more post which is known as the lieutenant governor or administrator. So who is this lieutenant governor? So that is in the case of these union territories. So you may be remembering there are certain union territories also in our state. In our country. So these union territories are having lieutenant governors and administrators. So these lieutenant governors are almost similar to the governors. They are also having 5 years term, and they are also having appointed by the president, and all the other functions of these lieutenant governors are similar to the governors within the states. So we can also see the Delhi, which is known as the capital territory. Okay, all the other territories are union territories, and Delhi is the capital territory. Okay, that territory is also controlled by the lieutenant governor. Okay, so the you should remember one more thing: the salary for the governor it is some 3 lakhs and 50,000 per month. Okay, anyway, 3 lakhs and 50,000 per month. It is decided by the parliament, and it will vary from time to time. Okay, now it's this much, and it is not the salary, but it's the allowances, privileges, everything. Okay, so that will come together. So there is no specific salary full altogether. You cannot say the salary because it is not coming as a fixed amount of money. It will be generated in the form of various allowances, then funds, privileges, everything. So that you may be knowing. In the case of all the constitutional bodies, the appointed persons will get the remuneration in terms of various aspects. Just like for health, there will be some allowance; for transportation, for communication, for receiving the guests, everything you will have some funds, and for and for MLS and MPs, there will be funds to travel throughout his territory and to inquire about the matters of the people, then to collect the data regarding the formation of the bill, everything you will get funds. So it is very difficult to uh, express the amount clearly in words. Okay, amount clearly in the numbers. Okay, so anyway, in some of the documents, it's obtained that the amount is 3 lakhs 50,000. Okay, anyway, you need not study that and write it in the exam. Anyway, it is like that you should understand. That's all. Okay. Okay, I hope it's okay. The signal strength. Okay, now we will move on to the lieutenant governor. That is similar to the president, and after that it is the chief minister, and the council of ministers. So you may be remembering the points. It is similar to the prime minister. So governor is the nominal head of the state, but CM is the real head of the state. So the governor can select a person as the chief minister from the members of the assembly. So it is a power of the governor to appoint any person as a CM. The person can also be from out of the assembly also. So any normal person can be selected as a CM, but provided that person should be appearing within the assembly within 6 months of appointment. Okay, within 6 months of appointment, there should be some by-elections. So these by-elections can be taking place by the death of any members of the assembly. Okay, so if any member dies, then definitely there should be a by-election. Otherwise, what will happen? If any member resigns, then also there will be by-election. So if you want to be the chief minister, then what you should do? There should be the recommendation from the governor, and there should be some election within the 6 months. Then within that election, you should win, and you should be a member of the assembly. Then only you can continue as the chief minister. Okay, that's the provision. So usually the governor appoints you, but the thing is that the person will be the leader of the majority party or the majority coalition in the elected members of the assembly. So that's the conducted. Okay, so the CM is appointed by the governor, and the council of ministers also is appointed by the governor based on the advice of the chief minister. That you know. So some other aspects, just like the CM and the council of ministers acts as the advisors of the governor in various matters. Okay, the matters means various sectors. You may be knowing the sectors, just like the IT, then finance, then all these matters, just like home ministry, okay, then transportation ministry, then environmental ministry, ministry of urban affairs, so ministry of rural self-government, everything are having various sectors, and all these sectors they study about the sector, and they advise the governor. That's all. So the chief minister, speaking about the chief minister, he accepts certain sectors. Generally, these sectors include the IT. So our IT minister is our chief minister itself. That you may be knowing. Okay, so the science and technology, environment. So all these sectors are not mentioned in the constitution, because at the time of formation of this constitution there was no information technology anything. Okay, so there is no need of mentioning all this. So the sectors such as this IT, then environmental, then science and technology, then the planning, internal affairs means home itself. Okay, home minister is also the chief minister, but in some cases it will not be like that. So that you may be remembering. In Kerala also there was a home minister and a chief minister, different persons. Okay, that you can read out from the books. In the time of C. Achyuthamenon, there was K. Karunakaran as the home minister. So that was during the 1970s. So it can happen. So here some other ministers can also take the charge of these sectors. Still, usually it is the practice that the chief minister takes all these particular sections, just like IT, science and technology, etc. Okay, okay. I hope these are clear. So now this is the Advocate General, who is the position coming under the state execution. Okay. Okay. Now Advocate General. Advocate General is similar to the Attorney General. Attorney General we have discussed during the Article 76. It represents that there will be a legal officer who is the highest legal officer in our country, who is known as the Attorney General. Okay. In the same way, we are having an attorney, a law officer in our state who is known as the Advocate General. Okay. So who is this Advocate General? Who is the highest legal officer or law officer within the state. And in Article 165, you can see it mentions about the Advocate General, and he assists the state government in all the legal matters. And if there is any case regarding the in which the state government is involved, then it's the duty of the Advocate General to perform that case. Okay, so it is the governor who appoints the Advocate General, and the person who is selected as the Advocate General should be qualified to appoint as the Judge of High Court. Okay, now he is also an advocate by profession, that you should understand. Okay, so he can take cases at which the client is the state government. Okay, so you may be remembering the cases just like the Kesavananda Bharati versus State of Kerala. So in such situations, it's the duty of Advocate General to perform the case. Okay, so no fixed tenure. So there is no term of office in general, but particularly once the ministry resigns, then it is a time to resign by the Advocate General also. So he enjoys his position under the governor. Okay, so because governor can anytime remove this Advocate General. So once the ministry is changing, then usually the chances are there to have a resignation from the Advocate General. That's all. So he can resign from his office at any time by giving resignation letter to the governor. Okay. So president can remove the Advocate General at any time. Okay. So the functions and rights that you can understand from the slide. Okay. So what are the functions? To give advice to the state government in legal matters. So the High Court also give advice to the governor on legal matters. So not only the High Court, but the Advocate General will also provide legal advices to the governor. Okay, and he represents the government in all the cases that we have discussed. Okay, so rights of the Advocate General, he can take part in any assembly meetings. Okay, so state assembly meetings, once it is gathered, then he can go there and he can present his ideas or present his views. but he cannot take part in a voting. Okay, he is having no right to vote because he is not an elected member within that house. So he cannot vote, but he can take part and he can speak in the meetings. Okay, and he can also be an audience in any court of the state. He can be an audience in any court of the state, and he can also take cases in any courts within the territory of the state. Okay, and he can take part in the all proceedings of the state legislature. No right to vote. Okay, and he is also immune to enjoys the privileges and immunities that are available to members of the state legislature. Okay, so all the privileges and all the allowances provided to the members of the state legislature is available to the advocate general also. So that's all regarding the positions related to the state executive. So the positions you should remember the chief minister, then council of ministers, then this advocate general, and at the top it's the governor. Okay, so in the union territory you should remember about the lieutenant governors or administrators. Okay, now during the remaining classes we will discuss about state legislature and state judiciary. So the extra points that I will give within my class note, and it will be shared within this week. Okay, I hope the points are clear for you. Understood a lot. Okay, let me take the attendance. Okay, Ashish, Abhinav, Abhishek, Aditya, Agil CV, Aditya present. Okay, Agil CV, no, Agil K present. Okay, Amal, Amina, Anena, Anirudh. Yes, no, Anjida, Anuja, Anubama, Aromal, Arpid. Yes, Arun, Arundad, Ashwin, Fasna, Fatima Ramshada, Hrudul. Okay, Hrudul ile, Hrudul absent. Yes, now Jarish, Khadija Shirin, Ligid, Mariam Liana, Muhammad Amidul Mohan. Yes, Muhammad Nasif, Muhammad Rasif, Muhammad Minaj, Muhammad Abu Bakr, Nihal, Muhammad Salih. Okay, okay. അതിൽ ആബ്സെന്റ് ആയിട്ടുള്ള ഒരാളാണ് മുഹമ്മദ് റാസി. പ്രസന്റ് അല്ലേ? ആബ്സെന്റ്. ഓക്കെ, നൗ മുഹമ്മദ് ഷഫീഖ്. മുഹമ്മദ് ഷഫീഖ് പ്രസന്റ്. ഓക്കെ, നബീൽ, നന്ദ, നന്ദിത, നിവേദ്യ. നബീൽ പ്രസന്റ് അല്ലേ? യെസ്. നൗ നൂഹ, നൂഹ ആബ്സെന്റ്. നൂഹാന്റെ ഹൃദുൽ ആബ്സെന്റ് അല്ലേ? ഓക്കെ, സോ പ്രിൻസ്, ഋഷികേശ്, ഋഷിൻ, രതിക്. ഋഷികേശ് ആബ്സെന്റ് ആണോ? ഓക്കെ, ഋഷികേശ് ആബ്സെന്റ്. നൗ രോഹിത്, സഫീൽ, സഫീൽ, സങ്കീർത്തന, സാരംഗ്, സജൽ. നൗ സെവിൻ, ഷബിൻ, സിഷാജ്, തനു, തേജ. ഓക്കെ, തുളസി, വൈഷ്ണവി, വിഷ്ണു, വൈഷ്ണ, യാദവ്. യാദവ്. നൗ അനീഷ്, അമൽ. Okay, okay. If you are having any doubts, you can ask. Okay, then we will see during the next class. Okay, I will see you present. Yes. Okay,